this afternoon. I'll share some tips and techniques, the 5 steps I use to make it work, and more importantly, make it sustain in the long run. So, just to give you a background, I work at AvePoint, and I'm the Global VP for Customer Strategy and Solutions. Very honored to be a SharePoint MVP, and I also wrote the book SharePoint for Project Management. Anybody read that book? A lot of you haven't. Would you guys want a free copy?
Yeah, sure.
Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. All right, so I'll tell you what, I'll give everybody a free copy. Stop by our booth, get scanned, and we'll send you a code that you can use and download from Amazon for ebook. Does that work? And also tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Amazon or my publisher actually sent us 25 copies that I'll sign and give away. So come by the booth now, I can give physical copies too. Okay? All right, so with that out of the way, here's what I want to cover in the next hour and 15 minutes. First, before I jump in talking about building this enterprise social roadmap or helping you build enterprise social roadmap, I want to first talk about the business value of enterprise social. I've walked into organizations and, CIOs or customers would tell me, hey, docs, we want Yammer. We want social. I go, why? Why? Just like you guys, I get this dead, silent treatment, and that makes me insecure as an immigrant to this country that my English is not good enough. So I ask another question. ¿Por qué? I don't know, docs. Isn't that the cool thing? Isn't that what Microsoft's pushing? Isn't that what everybody wants? Social, like, follow. Okay, what does that mean to the business? What does that mean if we roll out Yammer, Miss Sally in accounting is processing invoices every month? How can that help her? Tell me. Oh. If you can't answer that fundamental question, ¿por qué? Don't even throw it out there. And we'll talk about that. I'll give you positive business value propositions that you can bring back to organizations. Then we'll talk about how enterprise social can deliver business value in a day-to-day example from project management activities, for example, collaboration, HR, finance, executives. And then last but not the least, I'll share the 5 steps on how you put together your roadmap to go ahead and execute and implement your strategy around enterprise social. So you guys ready? Let's get started? Okay. So the exciting part about all this, if you think about 2014, we're at the cusp of a major revolution. And the revolution I'm talking about, it's not nothing political, but we're actually in the middle of this social revolution, we like it or not. There are 4 telltale signs that this is already happening. First, we live in a BYOD world, consumerization of IT. And I'm not just talking about devices. When iPad first came out, who in the company wanted their iPad hooked up to the VPN? Who? The C-level guys, right? Oh, I want my iPad to work. Make it work, IT. You never had that situation. Or devices aside, if marketing needs stuff done and IT can't deliver, what would marketing do? They would go online, swipe their credit card, and buy some online service and start using Box or Dropbox. Yes? I need to get my work done. BYOD. The other sign that this revolution is here is how fast things are happening. Mergers, acquisition. I mean, who would have imagined a guy putting up a video on YouTube on July 2012 to rack up the most views on YouTube in 6 months, December 2012, and the guy made $8 million off of ads, off of his video called Gangnam Style. I'm missing a letter on my last name. Stuff happens fast. We're in an age, and I don't have to reiterate, we have to do more with less. We're told to service the business more as IT, yet resources are declining. And last but not the least, this is the biggest part of the revolution, communication has drastically changed. I mean, forget communications at work. Think about your personal lives. Who still uses email, right, to communicate with your friends and family? Do you email your friends, hey, look at our wonderful vacation pictures, I've attached it. Do we do that? No, what do we use, sir? Facebook, right? I mean, I use my email to get my confirmation from Amazon or my monthly bills. That's all I use email for. It's an alerting mechanism. I mean, at work, right? How many of you get at least 100 or let's just say 50, at least 50 emails every week? Raise your hand. Keep it up. 50 a week. Okay. Now. With those hands up, keep it up. How many of you gets 3 handwritten letters every week? Yeah? It's changing. How did you hear about the royal baby, by the way? When the royal baby came out? Was it on 6 o'clock news, Tom Rocco? How'd you hear about it? Social, Facebook, maybe Pinterest. Hey, look at these collection of baby clothes. But that's how we live and work. Now, fun things aside, social has drastically changed not only how we communicate, but how we engage as a human race. I'm originally from Manila, Philippines, and the last typhoon that hit the Philippines in November was terrible. I actually know of a friend who passed away. Their whole family got swept away by the water. Now, with that being said, without social, more people would have died. Why? Because the rescue team that was set to save or help the people out locally, all of them got swept away. So what they did as things started to kind of, the storm passed, there's no communication, cell phone was still up, so they're posting on Twitter, hey, we need help here. And it was capturing their GPS location that the responders knew where the people were. The Pacific Command out of Hawaii, who was the first major group to go out and help to provide support, they coordinated everything using SharePoint, Yammer, and Office 365. Power of social. So we see the value of social. We see how it can improve and enhance our day-to-day engagement. And if we look at it, it has nothing to do with social. I mean, some of us are thinking, social is, it's for the young kids, they like technology. I argue that that's not true. It has a lot to do with us human beings and how we engage. Because by nature, we like to connect, we like to organize in communities to get things done. I mean, if you think about Facebook, your friends are your community, right? You like the product, that's your community. You're in LinkedIn, you're part of some professional group. We're a tribal being. Modern technology such as social and mobile removes those barriers. On the average, every consumer today interacts with 4 devices. You wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you get? Your smartphone, your iPhone. Or maybe your wearable device, Fitbit. Right? And then you get breakfast, you read the paper, not really physical, you bring up iPad and look at the news. You start your email maybe, because you need to catch up with your email on your iPad. Oop, I'm late. You save your email in draft. As you wait for the train, you continue your email on your phone. That's called work shifting. And then you finish your email when you're at work. Y'all with me? That's the new norm. But here's the irony of this. While we're used to this, we know how it works in our personal lives. In our work lives, for some reason, we still rely on freaking email. A 1973 technology. So what if we can translate the goodness of social into our work lives, right? See what the possibilities are.
Today, people are more connected than ever before, through social networks, through the cloud, through mobile devices. The world has become a giant network. And every second, people are sharing, learning, and making decisions on the go. They're all part of one hyper-connected world. These are your customers. They expect faster responses, personalized service, better experiences. As a business, you have to always be listening to your customers. Anticipate trends. Take action. And adapt quickly no matter what comes your way, so you can always stay one step ahead. You need the latest information at your fingertips to make fully informed decisions. And as a business, you can give your customers exactly what they want, when they want it. So they walk away with experiences as unique as they are. What if you were connected to everything important? What if you and every person in your company could work together like a network? Suddenly, you're plugged into everything that matters to your business. You're social and collaborating in new ways, exchanging ideas with people across the globe. You're always listening to your employees, customers, and partners. You spot new opportunities to adapt quickly and make change happen. You share documents and information in real time and make decisions faster than ever. When you're working together as one connected network, you can grow your business. You understand your customers, you build better products, and you deliver the best experiences. This is the power of a network. Now's the time to start working like one.
You guys like that? I love this whole theme around working like a network. And in fact, another thing I really like is this definition of enterprise social. Oftentimes, when I work with high-level customers or CIOs, they often say, we don't want social in my organization. I don't want no picture of a cat in our intranet. Right? Well, that's what you think of social in your personal life, but in the corporate world, it doesn't mean that. And that's why I have this definition from Gartner. I think it hits it spot on. So on the count of three, I want you guys to read it with me. 1, 2, 3. Enterprise social is an important method for enhancing communication, coordination, and collaboration for... It didn't say anything about liking or following, hashtagging. I don't know if that's a word. But if it allows you to fulfill better communication, coordination, collaboration, go for it. And I think that's the issue we face today. It's just a misunderstanding of what enterprise social is about. Okay? And what I'm going to ask you is, when you go back, first and foremost, if there's a misunderstanding or not a clarity of what this is, talk about the business value first. And I'll share some steps how you do that. In fact, don't even use the Y word or the S word. You know, the amateur SharePoint? That's a person from the Fight Club. You don't talk about the Fight Club. So don't bring those words up. What are we trying to address? What are we trying to solve? The idea of working like a network allows us to better innovate faster and be more agile. I mean, imagine from a collaborative perspective, the fact that, and I'll show you some demos in a second, if I put a hashtag or a keyword and somebody's monitoring that keyword, they can pick up and act on it. Yes? The idea of serial collaboration through email just doesn't cut it anymore. We can empower people, and when we talk about empowerment, yeah, it's a whole feel good, I'm an employee, I'm empowered, but empowered in a way where I can act on things with whatever, whenever. Yes? We can better engage internally, externally, and we can be more accountable, not only with our team, but with the work we're doing. You see, it's a big shift, right? Where traditionally, from a serial perspective, things happen in a long cycle. We talk about this new way, working like a network. Things are rapid. From email to social. And I'm not saying we're going to kill email. Email has its place. Like, again, today I use it for a learning mechanism. True work or true collaboration can happen through social. Our workplace today is not really a physical desk anymore. And when we talk about our workplace being mobile, we're not even talking about phones. iDocs and mobile. I'm here in San Francisco today, but I'm based out of DC. And being mobile, I carry these two devices. Traditionally, we don't have visibility into a lot of data, but today, with technology, we have access to a lot of data. Now, the next question is, what do we do with that? You know, it used to be, people say, content is king. Today, content is not king. Context is king. Tweet that. So, what's going on today is a major change, and I'm thinking shift happens, right? It's this major shift that we have to take and embrace. And we can do this within the confines of our organization. You know, I love this concept of the shift, Because traditionally, again, this is how we work. We're very siloed. You know, we have our X drives, we have our way of doing stuff. Public works people don't know what the state people are doing. Now, I'm not saying you get rid of this, but what if you can layer this idea of working like a network, having an enterprise interconnected? Think about the value you can deliver. I work in the public sector. In the public sector division at AppOne, I help a lot of our public sector customers, from the state to defense to state and local. And oftentimes, people make an argument, Docs, you know, social is for the young kids. Social is not for public sector. They're happy with Excel and Outlook. 1997 version, that is. And we don't want to learn anything new. It's too much for us. And at one point, I thought that was true. I thought, you know, this whole generational gap excuse is legitimate, but I don't believe that anymore. Because a year ago, and I kid you not, I was at one of the big agencies. I was working with a customer, and this lady, again, you know, she likes her Excel, she likes her Outlook. She's like, I'm not going to use any of this stuff because it's too much. As soon as we walked out the building, she took out her iPhone, checked her wall on Facebook, updated Candy Crush from the App Store and playing with it. And while she's waiting for her ride, I'm just watching. So, how long will it take you to learn all that stuff? Oh, this is fun, this is easy. So it's just a big, illegitimate excuse that this is too much. The fact that people aren't do this in their personal lives, they can do it in their work lives. The only missing piece is what would motivate me to do this, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Email works. And I think that's a missing part. We as technologists, we walk in, guns a-blazing, Yammer, SharePoint, social, cloud, whatever. I got to get my work done. So, what do? So, in the remainder of the hour, I want to share with you 5 specific steps. I'll share examples. I'll show you some artifacts that I've used on how you develop and execute your enterprise social roadmap. How do you think about rolling out enterprise social and ensuring that adoption works, right? So first step, by the way, you get a copy of the presentation. In all my presentations, I record it, so there's a video recording of this. You know, so if you want all this stuff, stop by the booth. We'll send you a free copy of the book, the PowerPoint and video recording. Will be $100 a download. No, I'm just kidding. But you get all this stuff and anything else I show. Okay? So first step. First step, it's critical to define your vision, right? And what we mean by this is you got to talk and engage with key decision makers, painting a picture of what the possibilities are. You don't go in and say, we want Yammer because it's cool to have a newsfeed. You got to make your case and tie it to business drivers, the plans you have. Ducks, we're in IT. We don't do that stuff. You like it or not, you have to make this work, right? And when you want to define your vision, you speak around the context of your business because business matters. Social really doesn't. Think about how social can help you make money or save money. Maybe expedite innovation. Or maybe drive better employee and customer engagement. So let me share a story with you. This is a great, fantastic story. Red Robin. You guys know Red Robin, the burger joint? So they had Yammer. They rolled out Yammer. It could be any social tool. So one of the big initial initiatives they had is to figure out how to save money because the economy's not all good. Competition is high. So the CFO decided that since everybody is on Yammer, even the servers through their phones with Yammer app, the CFO posted a message on the old network group. He said something like, hey guys, you know, we're trying to figure out how to save money, and here's what I'm going to do. Can anybody give us ideas? In the next 2 weeks, we'll collect all these ideas on how we save money, and after 2 weeks, we'll pick like the top 100, and we're going to make you vote, because Yammer has polling capabilities, you can vote. And whoever gets the best, or whoever has the most votes, like the best idea to save money, out of my pocket, I'll give you $2,000 cash. Okay? So he crowdsourced this idea. Simple, yeah. True enough, 2 weeks later, tons of ideas. They filtered it out to 100. They picked the winner. On the end of the third week, they even had a picture who got the prize. So do you think Red Robin only implemented idea number 1? They implemented the top 50 ideas, which were legitimate. In the next 2 months, cost savings went up the roof. It's powerful. We talk about the power of social delivering business value. Now, everything else, yeah, better communication, liking, following, that's all good. But when you talk to the C-level defining vision, you talk in dollars and cents. And there's a lot of examples out there, and I'd be happy to send you some more examples around this scenario. Now, as you define and describe your vision, think about what your high-level goals and priorities are. So it's critical to engage the check writers. Unless they get it, unless you can paint a picture for them to see, no matter how hard you try, it's going to be difficult because almost always there's some preconceived notion up there that social is just a waste of time. Okay? So engage with them, talk to them, think about what your major initiatives are, figure out how you can tie in a social platform to help you. Establish clarity of purpose. So once you define the vision, right, is it about, I'll show you some example vision in a second. Is it about saving money? Is it about better teamwork, better customer service? Who's going to be affected by this? Who will be impacted by this? Who will need to learn this stuff? Who will be taking care of this? Because while the promise of social is great, there's the reality of who owns this? What's the investment in running this? A lot of people talk about social, but only so few talk about what's the cost. What's the ROI and what's the cost of doing all this stuff? What kind of people do it? And what's your measure of success? And this is another thing people don't really think about. While there's qualitative measure, ooh, we feel good, kumbaya, collaborate, we love each other more, talk more. That doesn't pay the bills. Are we delivering our projects better, sooner, faster? Are we providing better customer service? Or work, or our products, our quality is getting better, right? So you got to have both quantitative and qualitative measuring. I'll show you an example too on how you can set that up. When you think about social at that level, is really pitching the idea that social empowers folks in the organization, the bottom up, to allow the top level make decisions faster, better, sooner. That will affect the company's needs. Now I want to show you another video, another example of trying to get you to think about what kind of vision you can paint. It's actually a video from Microsoft. It's the SharePoint team, the guys who build SharePoint. And they actually use this stuff. And one of the challenges they have is how can they do faster releases? In case you don't know, Microsoft has this 90-day cycle now on their release for new features or updates, whatever, versus three years before. But so they got to expedite a lot of this. So one of the things they realize is they got to expedite how they communicate, make decisions, and decide on rolling out these releases. They figure using social helps them to do this. So watch this video.
I've been at Microsoft for 17 years. I've been working on SharePoint since 1998, since we started the team. We've come a really long way, but Yammer is just this fundamental upgrade to how people communicate. And it's really enabled our team to fundamentally upgrade how we communicate with each other.
One of the highlights of using Yammer in our day-to-day work is the way in which Yammer has improved the spec review process for us. The process used to be that we would send out a meeting request, discuss the feature, come to decisions in that meeting, and then that feature would progress all the way through development, while only having a few eyes on it.
Yammer as a tool has really enabled us to bring a lot more people from around the company into our conversations. People we didn't even expect to be able to participate, and we didn't even know who to ask. They'll just jump into conversations, and that's people in marketing, it's people in sales, people in consulting, and people in all of our partner engineering teams around the company.
Communicating in public brings us to better decisions faster. Since we've adopted Yammer, we can communicate more quickly because we don't have synchronous meetings.
Instead of getting everyone together, all the scheduling conflicts we had faced before, we can get things done usually like that same day, just by having a Yammer thread where everybody can participate.
For me, as a PM, one of the specs that I personally own required me to come up to speed on a web part that was designed years ago. And what I was able to do with Yammer was to just simply search on the name of the feature, find all the groups that were related to the production and refinement of that web part, and learn about its history and where it's been and how it was made, so that in my refinement, I was able to leverage all that information and not have synchronous meetings with the stakeholders to have them get me up to speed. I was able to do that all on my own, and it led to me getting a spec out a lot faster than I otherwise would have been able to do without Yammer.
So it's both good for the team, and I think it's been really good for me. It's been good for the individuals on the team because we get a lot more context, so we just have the information we need to do our jobs most effectively. We can also share way more easily, so it's a lot easier to sort of get credit for the things that you're doing. You get likes, you get responses, people praise each other a lot more often in Yammer. It's really been an amazing tool, I think, for individual empowerment and engagement.
Communications are better in the open, so by moving to Yammer, it helped us get to better designs faster, better communication with our field, and better communication with marketing, and ultimately better product for customers.
So when we talk about defining a vision, some of the questions, and I won't go through all of this, you can use this as a guide. Fundamentally, ask the question why, right? And if you're in the middle of this, you might want to step back. Other than all these fancy features, how is this going to impact the bottom line of my team, my organization? Maybe it's just in your department, but go through this exercise of understanding what business value it can deliver. Now, here's an example vision, and this is actually a vision from Yammer for their enterprise social implementation. So one of the couple of visions they have is to first have transparent communication. So having social will allow them to deliver a consistent message and facilitate two-way communication. Another vision they have through social is when they work on projects, they can collaborate better. This morning I had a session on how to use Project Online for project management, and one of the stats I talk about is in 2014, the #1 project management tool is still email. Shame on us. Imagine if we can extend that and elevate that with a social platform. So this is a sample vision, and there's a whole lot more out there I can send you, but really the first step in your journey as you want to build this roadmap is understand why. What's the business purpose? Next, once you have that high-level vision, now you got to come down a bit and map it to true business value. And what I mean by that is, okay, the executives like it, they get it, it'll help us save money, make money. But next, what does this mean to the front line? What does this mean to HR, to project managers, to salespeople, right? So you have to realize that as you introduce a technology like this, the hardest part of new technology is change. That's why the person I was working with in this government agency couldn't care less, because she has to change her ways. Right? She doesn't find any compelling reason why she has to take advantage of it. So our job is to map it to a specific or a couple of business value propositions that would want them to take advantage of it. So how do we do that? To map the business value, the first area you have to consider is the idea of how do you facilitate purposeful collaboration. I think the word collaboration gets lost. When we use the word collaboration, we just use it nonchalantly these days. And collaboration could be worthless too. Hey, did you see the game last night? On Yammer or Social or SharePoint, and they start talking about how the Seahawks did a great job. I mean, if you work for the Seahawks, great, but maybe not for other companies. So how do you define this purpose as you map the business value? 3 things, and I'll show you an example in a second. First, you've got to identify common pain points. And I'm not even talking about complex stuff. That's a problem with IT sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too, is when we roll out technology, the first thing we think of, we're going to hook up SharePoint Social to CRM to SAP to run DMC. Because that's what we do, we're IT. But then, lo and behold, common pain points that people deal with day in, day out is things like, Docs, I just wish there's a better way to manage all our meeting artifacts. I mean, I just can't deal with this emailing back and forth. Or Docs, I'm processing all these invoices every month. People just send me all these Excel files. It's just too much. I have to create a monthly report. I wish there was a better way. Y'all with me? Yeah. Those are pain points. Low-hanging fruits. And identify quick wins. I don't encourage you to start thinking about complex integration. Look at these day-to-day challenges. One of the most common solutions I help with organizations with as they roll out these kinds of technologies, you'd laugh, but it's true, is almost always they have some sort of like a conference room scheduling system. Because that's a pain point, that's a bane of every executive admin's existence. Reserving conference rooms. So I would help them pretty much. It's a SharePoint site, bunch of calendars with some workflow that people can do self-service conference room reservation. They can look at who's using it, whatever. Simple things. And most importantly, this is very important, listen, integrate it, if possible, with existing tools that they use. Enterprise social doesn't mean that you chuck email, chuck Excel, or chuck Word or PowerPoint. In fact, if you can slip it in along with those tools, the better. Because as we talked about, change is the hardest part with all this. But if you pitch it in a way that, hey, do you know you could do this with Outlook or Excel or Word with your mobile phone, the likelihood of them embracing it would be higher versus, I told you to go to the SharePoint site. I told you don't send attachment. Go to the SharePoint site, upload the file to the library, grab the link, pop it back on your email, and send. Not. Right? So how do we do this? So I'm going to show you a video, a little demo. I picked a use case around project management, project collaboration. I mean, that's something we deal with every day. But what if we can use enterprise social to enhance project collaboration? Working with my team beyond just using email. So let's watch what that looks like.
Meet my colleague Alex. He and I are working on putting together a presentation for our boss. Thanks to SharePoint 2013, we're able to easily centralize and manage all related artifacts and communications for this project. On a typical day, Alex would start working from home using his Mac. He would check his email from a browser and start work from there. Looks like Alex is reviewing the task for the project, and he has some questions for me about the project. Just by using the browser, he's able to instant message me using technologies like Link. One of the key benefits of SharePoint 2013 is a deep integration with existing tools that we already use, like Microsoft Office, smartphones, and even web-based technologies. So even if I am out and about, I'm still not at the office yet, I can easily respond to Alex on my phone and update my tasks. The beauty with SharePoint 2013 is that I can continue working with Alex once I get to the office. You just assign me a task on the project site, and look at what happens. It automatically shows up on my task list in Microsoft Outlook. Isn't that cool or what? Additionally, within Outlook, I can email the entire team directly using this neat feature called Site Mailbox. The Site Mailbox is available not only in Outlook, but it's the same Site Mailbox that the team can see and interact with directly on the project site. The Site Mailbox also provides visibility to all the documents I have in the project site. So what do you think? Are you excited? I am. This is the new way to work together with SharePoint 2013.
So let's think about this, right? A couple of things. We talked about, so this is that project site. We talked about, number one, the current trends, BYOD, multi-device, work anywhere, anytime, anyhow. Then we also talked about when we map to business value, we have to ensure that people would want to change and ease in to use this stuff. I mean, if you pitch it that way, hey, you can use your Mac You can update your tasks on the phone. If I update my task, it updates to the project site, updates Microsoft Project, updates the dashboard. Isn't that cool? And then some of you may be thinking, well, Docs, hold on. You're talking about social here, but why are you talking about SharePoint and Link and phone? What was the definition again? The definition didn't say enterprise social is Yammer. It just says enterprise social is a way if we can improve communication, collaboration, and coordination. So when you think enterprise social, it's not just one single product. It's a suite of tools that allows you to work better, right? Now, going back to this example. So this is that project, and one of the things I have is I have a newsfeed here, right? And so let's say I'm doing the presentation, and I want to let my team know back at work how the presentation's going. So there's an app in my phone, and it could be any phone, and I want to let them know how it's going. So do you mind taking a picture? Come on. Go. So I want you to stand here and just give me a second. All right, so I'm going to take a picture. It's that newsfeed for that project site. I'll tag everybody on Facebook later. All right. Now, so as soon as I've done that, right, it's just on the Yammer app. I jumped on my project site to this group, and but what's the value proposition here? I mean, I actually had a customer. We helped them with this because they have projects. They build gas stations. And one of the processes, they have to take pictures for compliance if there's, in the construction, if there's cracks and whatever. And traditionally what they do, they take a picture, they email it, and you know how that goes. But then now they want a one-stop shop, they want to surface everything up. And not only that, they can put certain hashtags. They would say, crack as a hashtag. And then other people who's watching that hashtag can pick up that picture or comment or whatnot. Instantaneous feedback. Work like a network. So let's scroll down here. There you go.
God.
Talking about how bad I look, or everybody else? So it shifts the paradigm, but if I'm right, you can excite people with these things. Now, certainly, you got to put the parameters how all these things will be used from a business perspective. But now you can say, okay, folks, when we work on projects, here's how we can do it better. When we have a one-stop shop, all the project documents, tasks, information are there, communications there, all the activities are there. You can still use your iPad, your Mac, your Office, Windows, what have you. When you think of social, it's not a destination. And unfortunately, that's what it is today. SharePoint is a 12-year-old product, but 80% of global deployments is nothing but a big file dump. It's not a fabric of how people work. I mean, let me ask you this. If you take email and Excel away from everybody at work, can they still work? Not really. If you take SharePoint away, can they work? Yeah, they'll be fine. So, something wrong with that. The idea now is if you use tools like SharePoint and Yammer, make it a fabric of how people work. It's not just a destination. It's not just some fancy internet they go to look up whose birthday's coming up. But it's embedded in everything else they do. That's where the power comes about. Brings value inside and outside as well. So, the second step as you map to business value, how do you do this? So Docs, I get it. You paint a vision, get the executives excited. Step 2, you work with the business. So I guess, I talk to project managers, understand what they're doing, what their pain points are, and paint a picture of what these things could be. I talk to HR. HR, what's your pain point? The whole onboarding process. When we hire people, we fill out this form, we email it left and right, and once we hire the person, we tell IT to create accounts. And if IT forgets to create logins for that person, the new hire walks in and they just hang out the hallway. Never happens, right? Because the office wasn't provisioned or accounts weren't done, so for 2 days you're just walking around. That's a pain point right there. So capture all these things and then you prioritize because reality says you can't help them all right away. So how do you prioritize? I'm going to show you a little Excel file I use. It's nothing fancy, but it works. So here's an Excel spreadsheet. I'll send this to you too. So this is how I capture business needs and prioritize them, right? So this is an example of a county I work with, and I work with all the different business units and a couple of things, right? So I talk to the operations team, HR team, and finance team. And I spend 30 minutes, an hour with them. I just talked about, hey, what's your day-to-day challenges that you face? And then I give them some examples, and then they start going off on their own examples. Ducks, we have this SOP creation process. It's so manual. We take an Excel file, email it back and forth. It'd be great if it's more automated. So as they're describing the process, column C, I put all the enterprise social capabilities with the tools that they have, be it SharePoint, Yammer, whatever, right? And I just map it to their needs. So right then and there, I'm documenting all this. I'm saying, okay, we could use this, we could use that. Accident report reviews, we could do this, we could do that. Y'all follow me? But towards the end of the conversation, I asked them, okay, looks like you have a need around SOP creation, accident report reviews, what have you. If there's one thing we can solve today, what would that be, operations team? Oh, docs, the accident report reviews, because this is a matter of life and death. Okay, what's number two? This. So again, what we're doing here as IT, we're facilitating the conversation. We're allowing the business to define what's most important to them. Versus the traditional IT, how do you like their SharePoint? Survey, sites, wikis. You want to supersize it? Let's put VCS. Next! That's what we do. And they'll take anything we give them. And then it's a big fog dump, right? Now, we're shifting the conversation, not about SharePoint, not about Yammer, not about social, but about their business. Sorry, I can't be more excited about it. So it's just shifting the paradigm. Does this help?
Yeah.
Now, the reality also means, docs, this is cool, bless your heart, you're trying hard up there, but it's too much to deal with. We can't do it all. I agree. So the next step is, let's say you're doing it for the whole company or for your department. Now you measure it. And what I mean by measuring is now I flip the view, right? Column A, you have different departments, HR, operations, whatever. B are all the features and technology I've extracted based on their business needs. Remember earlier I mapped to the features? Y'all remember that? So for HR, on all their business needs, we need all these capabilities. For operations, we need these capabilities. And then next column, what's the business priority? 5 means it's very important. Lists and libraries would always come up. What's the size and effort to do it for HR? So what do these numbers mean? I have some standard, let's scroll down a bit. I'm scrolling too fast. So the size and effort has these standardization, right? Like 1, it's going to take 20 hours, 2, it's going to take 3-person weeks, etc., etc. And that may vary in your organization depending on the skill set you have. Okay, so to build all the lists that HR needs is going to take 3 weeks, but what's the business impact? It's a high impact because once we automate onboarding process, the likelihood of people hanging out the hallway would drop, right? The process of doing performance eval or expense reimbursement will be faster. So high business value. How reusable is it? Can we templatize this so HR can use it over and over? 1, meaning it's not reusable. 2, it's reusable within HR. 3, it means it's reusable to other companies. With technology today, you can templatize workflows, sites. You can make it available for other people. Now, what's the total business value? If we do all these lists for HR, it's a 9. This is a 6, this is a 7. So by doing this now, we have raw numbers in understanding what's going to be most important to that team or group. Is that useful? Because the big disconnect is always the business tells me, do SharePoint or give me Yammer, and then that's it. We just give it to them with no context. But you have to be realistic as well. While we can now measure and prioritize and rank business value, we have to be realistic how much can IT take on or not take on. Because if we implement these lists for HR, it's a 1, it may mean it needs 20 hours of somebody in IT to do it. Even if they hire a contractor to build it, just to set up credentials, security, whatever, IT has to spend this. What about support impact? What about training impact? And it's a 3. So now this can be a conversation that HR will go, yeah, this is good, it's 9. But IT goes, well, it's a 3. It's beyond our budget for this fiscal year, so we can't do it. We can't get another headcount to do this. HR might go, no, but it's going to help us save money or be more productive. This is a good negotiations point. Okay, HR, we as IT will put the platform in place. We put SharePoint, we put Office 365 or Yammer. Why don't you pony up so we can help you build this solution? Does that make sense? And once you do this, you bring in all the key stakeholders in the room. And this is a great conversation piece with the business. I'm not saying everybody would agree, but everybody would have a good understanding of what it means to roll out social. And then now collectively you decide, okay, how are we going to do this? Well, since we only have this much resource, this is phase 1 rolls out, phase 2, phase 3. This is the start of your roadmap. And after this, I typically take this and have like a formal roadmap. And even better, as you're implementing this, marketing comes and goes, I don't like how Yammer looks. I don't like how SharePoint looks. Make it pretty. You don't get that, right? Make it look like Ferrari.com. Okay, let's go back and see if making it pretty is a business need you've identified earlier. Was it? I don't see it making it pretty there. No, docs, it's a valid requirement because we were launching this new rebranding campaign. Okay, let's stick it back here. Let's reprioritize. Maybe we need another resource to do the branding. Y'all with me? You can't build a $10 car in 2 weeks with one person. But the good news about this is it facilitates that conversation. And you know, enough of the whole, the business don't know what they need. Stop whining, IT.
Help them.
Step up, yeah. And don't just be order takers. Yeah, us, we have BAs in IT. No, we have order takers. How do you like your SharePoint? What kind of site do you like? You like a clean site? Or we got this new thing called the Fantastic 40 templates.
Okay.
A lot of you don't remember that, but that was bad. So does this help, gang? Okay. So that's the second step, right? Map the business value and prioritize. What are you going to do today, tomorrow? Think about what can enterprise social be. Docs we can use for better project transparency, better collaboration, better communication, whatever. The third step, now that you put together a vision, you put together what the business value proposition would be and the priorities are, now you got to take these business value proposition and put together use cases. How can actually people do this? So if you're saying, Docs, we can better manage projects with social, you know, you showed that fancy video. On a tactical day-to-day process, what does this look like? Right? So now we're taking each business value and kind of laying out the game plan. Again, the purpose of enterprise social is the idea of getting your work done faster, better, sooner. While having a nice, pretty intranet with news feeds going back and forth is cool, but the purpose, again, is to enhance communication, collaboration, and coordination. So develop use cases. This is a sample one. And I could send you more samples. So for example, let's say one of your business value proposition is to have a better way to onboard employees, and you're going to use social to do that. So you talk about the problem, what the issue would be, what the potential solution is, what the benefits is, what are your success metrics, and who owns it. And this is the other big thing that's a big problem in organization. Nobody really owns SharePoint or social. IT de facto owns it, but IT would say, oh, we own the infrastructure. We keep the lights on. ROI? That's foolish talk. We don't know anything about ROI. Go ask the business. No, it's IT. What you need to make this successful is a chokeable neck. Seriously. Right? So if you've identified business use cases, given IT owns the technology, HR has to own this process and this solution. Y'all with me? Forgive my heavy southern accent, y'all. I'm from deep south, Manila, so. when you develop these use cases, another important and useful tool is the ability to understand what the process looks like. So I love using Visio. This is what's called a swim lane diagram, if you're not familiar. So this is an example. So I had a lot of experience rolling out project management solutions on top of these technologies. But almost always, I would say, okay, you want to use SharePoint or Yammer or Project Server, Project Online for better project management. Indulge me. Tell me how projects work in your company. Well, Docs, when we have a project, a sponsor approves it. Then a project manager gets assigned. Once the project manager gets assigned, they have to build a schedule. They have to have a project site. They have to have a project newsfeed, blah, blah, blah. And then the team members, they update their tasks. Y'all follow me? It's very important to have this for a couple reasons. Number one, it puts people on the same page. What's the game plan? And oftentimes you don't do that. Yeah, we're project managers. How she managed her project is totally different than how I would. But now we have a consistent way of doing things with these tools. Number two, what we just did, we've assigned literally roles and responsibilities. Chokeable necks. But number three, and the most important part, is now we've also defined contextual learning. Because a lot of this may be new to people, and we can't just assume they'll figure it out. We have to have training. But I don't agree that we send people, hey, go to attend a 4-day SharePoint training or attend a 1-day power user Yammer training. I mean, that's good if you can, but at the very least, have contextual training where now you're going to define, as a project manager in this company for this use case, these are the things that you have to learn, and we can do this in 2 hours. Y'all follow me? In context to how they work. Another video from Xerox. They talk about a use case that
When I first
have.
came onto Yammer, there wasn't too much continued conversation. I'd say the population that was paying attention to Yammer just wasn't large enough.
And it kind of spreads because I'm kind of a connector, so I like to let people know what's kind of going on, and I would let people know that Yammer is a useful thing, and you should get online, and you should play around with it. And so I think it spread from there.
We view Yammer as more of a conversation. It's not just a one-way, let's post a story and tell the world. Let's tell the world and ask them their opinion.
The value of Yammer to me is bringing me very close to people who do work for Xerox customers and shareholders every day, giving them just as much a chance to interact with me as I am communicating my message to them.
One of the main ways that we're seeing value in Yammer is getting a much quicker answer than you could have before. Even if you don't think that Yammer is something that you're going to use every single day, that's okay. But just keep it at the back of your head. And the next time you have a question and you have no idea who to ask, go to Yammer and ask it there. Because you will get an answer.
Yammer speeds up the ability for people to get the information they need. It speeds up the ability for people to connect. Yammer is all, to me, it's all about productivity. It's about building community, and it's about, creating a new culture for the way that I think the 21st century employees work.
Today, through Yammer, and recently this has happened, we've launched a global program. In that global program, I was able to use Yammer threads to connect with people in Canada, Hungary, across the United States, in a global community and conversation, where each one of them had a chance to interact with me dramatically and directly. That is a revolution.
This does make sense. It's a good tool for us, and it does provide value to our people and our business.
So you can see for that company, their business use case is to the ability to expedite information exchange and communication. Let me share another good story along this line with Nationwide as well. Nationwide Insurance, right? Nationwide. So one of the use cases for Nationwide Insurance is to improve customer service. And this was a true story. You can look it up. So one day, Nationwide Insurance, they have car insurance. So one day, a family, they're driving RV, and they're insured by Nationwide, and somehow their RV broke down in the middle of nowhere in Florida. And you know how with insurance you can buy it from an agent and it doesn't have to be direct from the insurance provider? So the customer called the agent and said, my RV broke down, lightning, thunder, whatever. I think I'm covered for this situation. The agent said, no, you're not. You're on your own. But the customer no, let me call Nationwide. So the customer calls Nationwide. And the customer service rep picks up, again, same thing. And the customer rep goes, what's your policy number? So, you have traditional system, you put in policy number, but it didn't really say about his coverage for that situation. Y'all follow me? Traditionally, what's going to happen is, can I put you on hold, or can I transfer you? Let me check this other system. It's out of my whatever. So the customer service guy, because part of their process now, if there's anything for customers that they cannot address with a traditional customer relationship management system, go to Yammer. So he jumped on Yammer, and they have a corporate hashtag called emergency, I think, or customer emergency. This customer rep put that hashtag and say, hey, customer, stop, Florida, whatever. We're not sure if his policy covered. Long story short, a bunch of the key people saw that. In 30 minutes, they found that it's covered. In an hour, a tow truck came. Hour and a half, they put them up in the local hotel. It turns out this guy talked about it all over with his family and Facebook. I don't care how much Nationwide will charge me. I'm there for life. It's a great story. So if you think about that, traditionally with email or systems we have, that won't happen. They might be stuck there for the rest of the evening. So think about use cases. Once you have these use cases and your game plan mapped out, showtime. Now let's roll it out, let's implement it, let's drive success, step forward. Right? So when we implement these use cases, put together a timeline. And you just have to be realistic, because a lot of times people ask me, Docs, who owns enterprise social? Is it just IT? No. It's IT and HR and corporate communications. Sometimes it's legal involved. Because there may be questions, I don't know what the right answer is, because there's questions like, well, Docs, we have unions in our organization. After 5 o'clock, they post on social. Is that considered work? I don't know. Right? So legal may have to be involved in those situations. Because on one hand, you want people to freely work and engage and communicate, but then would you want me to be engaged 5 o'clock? I'm clocked out. I can't be social. Right? So those are some of the considerations you have to think about. Engage with HR or corporate communications. And this is something new to a lot of IT organizations. Because when we think of social, the rollout is not upgrading Windows or upgrading our email. This is a business transformation exercise. And most likely your corporate communications team have done campaigns in your company already to drive certain activities or initiatives so they can help you with this. Right? And plan engagement events. So you can make it fun. It doesn't have to be boring. Right? So for example, here's a true example. So I work with an organization. I helped their IT put together enterprise social roadmap. It was for 100,000 people around the world. So obviously we didn't roll it out right away for 100,000 people. We did a pilot. So the whole pilot was around getting your work done faster, better, sooner. We didn't even talk about technology. So we invited 80 people in the company from the business to be a part of it. So obviously these 80 people were excited. And so we did 3 things. Number 1, we did a survey. So this was a 3-month exercise. We did a survey and just sent them very simple questions, right? What's your biggest pain point in your day-to-day work? So we put examples. For example, managing meeting artifacts or scheduling people, whatever. 3 questions. What's the tool that you use mostly? So email, Excel, PowerPoint came up. And number 3, if there was a perfect tool, what would it be? And everybody said, if I can work in my phone and Outlook, whatever, right? So we did a survey. So we took that survey, and number 2, we did a 1-day workshop. So everybody flew into corporate, and in that day, what we did is we took all their pain points and showed them that, hey, you have all this stuff already. They had SharePoint, they had social, and people were so excited. Wow, I could better do meetings, I could better manage projects. Now, we didn't stop there. Towards the end of the day, we said, the last step of this pilot is we're going to have a contest, right? And this contest is called Productivity Idol. The idea is you're going to assemble as teams, and based on your pain point, you're going to put together a solution that will help your problem. In the next 4 weeks, you'll have mentors like the voice. So if you have any questions about what you're doing, there's a portal. So internally we build a portal using SharePoint with how-tos and videos, and there's a social feed that they can ask questions. And then for the next 4 weeks, every week, I have a web meeting, WebEx, that they just jump in, ask me questions, how to do this, how to do that, and I would record it, and I would feed it back to the portal. Y'all with me? Well, the best part is this. So as we were explaining all that, so the last part is, in the end, once you're done with your solution, we're going to showcase it, we're going to make the company vote, whoever has the best solution will get a prize. They go, what prize? You get 1 free day off. That's something that IT wouldn't think about, but HR was okay with it. And they're like, okay. So the amazing thing, the next 4 weeks, they were onto it. They asked questions. Originally, we thought that they're going to ask questions, IT will just respond. How to do this, how to do that. But the amazing part is other people start jumping in, the power of social. Hey, I've done this before, do this. Hey, check this out. It's cool. And then other people in the organization outside of this pilot group wanted in, and we let them in. They start doing stuff beyond the bounds of what this exercise was for. A lot of activity. So we took the learnings from that and we put together a plan to roll out globally. Deliver contextual training and make it active. When we talk about training, it doesn't have to be the traditional death by PowerPoint. You can make it engaging and fun. So the goal here is beyond rolling it out initially, you want to drive sustainable adoption. From today onwards, when you think about the word adoption, the one word adoption is just not enough. It has to be coupled with or prefaced with sustainable. You repeat that with me? Sustainable adoption. 1, 2, 3.
Sustainable adoption.
Because a lot of times we think adoption equals training. We rolled out SharePoint, we rolled out Yammer, go take a power user class, everybody would love it. No. The idea with sustainable adoption is first and foremost, how can you drive excitement? I mean, early when I showed you the video of how to better manage projects with all these tools, I saw a couple eyes just glimmer. That's exciting. And then not only do you want people to get excited, what kind of change or positive change do you want to promote? Wow, instead of spending 8 hours doing this process, now I'm doing it 4 hours. And how do you equip people to help themselves, help their colleagues, and you as IT scale support? The idea of if the users need help, they fill in a ticket request, that's just not going to cut it. So sustainable adoption certainly includes training, and I talked about training. Make it interactive and fun. So for example, I use this technique called active learning. Look for it. There's a whole lot of resources around active learning. The idea is people learn better when they interact and engage. So one of the tools I use is something I put together, and this is when I train companies with SharePoint. I call it SharePoint Jeopardy. And the idea is when people get in the room, I start with, hey guys, look, this is important because anything and everything you're going to learn today, it'll culminate to SharePoint Jeopardy. And whoever gets the answer right will get this prize. You can hype it up, people get excited. You want to try this out? Let's play SharePoint Jeopardy?
Sure.
Okay, so let's play SharePoint Jeopardy, all right? I forgot to bring my Jeopardy music, but here. Welcome to SharePoint Jeopardy. All right, you guys know how Jeopardy works, right? All right, so let's start with first category. SharePoint doesn't suck for 100. Let me click on that. There you go. What feature in SharePoint allows up to 99 people edit a document at the same time? Ah, very good. What is co-authoring? Let's give them a round of applause. And for that, I give you a free signed copy of the book tomorrow, all right? You want to do one more?
Yes.
All right, let's go back to the main Jeopardy screen here. Co-authoring. Let's do upgrades for 100. What type of upgrade where configuration data for the farm and all the content in the farm is upgraded on the existing hardware?
In-place upgrade.
Who said that?
Right here.
That's not the right way to answer it. What is in-place upgrade? No, that's good. Let's give him a big hand. Was that fun? Now, here's the better part. I bet you a lot of you didn't know about co-authoring and in-place upgrade. You just learned it too. And here's the best part too. This is just PowerPoint. You guys want this?
Yeah.
So, make it fun. Establish scalable support. So as a part of driving success, have a mechanism where people can help themselves. And one of the tools I love and I highly recommend is a tool called Visual SP. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Visual SP is an add-on to SharePoint, and what it does, it embeds in-context help within your list, within your library. So for example, because that's something that's missing in SharePoint. You go to a calendar list, if people don't know how to use it, they go to help. You can have little videos and how-tos and checklists, and it's like little YouTube videos. It's really cool. Anybody has that or use that? But you've seen it, right? Yeah, it's awesome, and it's not really that expensive. I think it's like $5 or $8 grand a server, but for what it could do, it's going to reduce IT calls for basic stuff. Visual SP.
Hey, Gus?
Yes.
The other thing you can do is you can put your own training content or governance content or just-in-time whatever in the tool, and it surfaces not only
Yes.
the context, but only based on the permissions that you have on that site.
Absolutely, and that's the part that I love, because it comes out of the box videos, but you can put it's not just videos. You can put checklists, right? So let's say you provision a project site, it can pop up, here's what you do next. So it's called Visual SP. So you can go to our website, visualsp.com. You can put together a community-based help through Yammer or the communities featured in SharePoint. And lastly, IT should be handling complex issues and complex support, but put together a scalable support structure. Because on the one hand, you want adoption to grow, but on the other hand, IT won't grow as fast and you can't handle all the support. Here's a video of Nationwide Insurance and what they've done with their platform.
SPOT has been a year-long collaboration between infrastructure and operations and Nationwide's collaboration team.
This project really culminated from a need that we had across the enterprise to get better collaboration.
SPOT is a community where people can collaborate, communicate, ask questions, be heard.
We wanted to create an environment, essentially, that employees wanted to use, employees wanted to come to every day.
How would I describe SPOT? Inviting, social,
Innovative,
creative,
valuable,
Engaging,
resourceful, revolutionary, sharing,
intuitive,
exciting, self-service,
dynamic,
comprehensive.
cool, use us up.
a gateway.
It's a nation.
Created by employees for employees.
The favorite part was seeing the team kind of grow up together and meld as a team.
What I feel in this team is a sense of trust and respect and a level of commitment to a vision that I've rarely felt in my career.
And I'm just looking forward to what is to come because the best is yet to come.
And this is a great story with what Nationwide did. So they called their platform Spot. And one of the cool things they did is, again, they didn't talk about Yammer, SharePoint, it's the whole thing. One of the coolest things they did is they have Spot Radio. Essentially, every day from 12 to 1, there's a call-in radio station that they stream through Spot, and they record it. You can listen at the podcast. And people just call in with their collaboration issues, and they run it like a true radio station. They play music. Hey, we got caller, Ducks from HR. What's up, Ducks? Oh, I'm doing this performance evaluation just through email. You got to listen to it because it's really cool, but engages everyone, right? And then they run contests with this spot radio, like you know how radio station does contests. Whoever comes up with this and whatever. So they do that and they showcase it. And now what the next generation spot is, they're introducing apps. And again, it's the same platform, but users can have apps for, I don't know, expense reimbursement, travel requests, what have you. And it's going to work on any device, every device, wherever you are, etc. The last step for your social roadmap is make sure as you put together your plan and your roadmap, have mechanisms in there to evaluate, adapt, and iterate. So the idea is, on a regular basis, gather feedback. Have a way for people to provide better or more ideas. Have a way on a regular basis that you go back to the business and talk more about, now that you use this, are there any other things we can help you with? One of the things that I love about Best Buy, I don't know if you heard the Best Buy story, but Sarah Hasi, good friend, and she said Best Buy. One of the things they do every time they roll out a solution, she goes back on her Outlook calendar exactly 3 months after she's rolled it out to put a reminder to go back and talk to them and see how it helped, or are there any other things that we can work with you on this. So as you're hearing this, keep in mind that this should be part of your overall organizational initiative. Somebody has to own this. It can't be one of those, oh, it's on top of my day job as a Windows admin person. If you want to invest in this, forget the technical piece, but you got to have that somebody to be engaging with the business. When you gather the feedback and you want to start measuring, right, there's 2 ways to measure, like I described earlier. Quantitative measurement and qualitative measurement. So for example, right, on one hand, if you have tools like Yammer or even in SharePoint, there's tools you can put in there to measure analytics like hits, access, who did what, all that good stuff. So for example, this is a Yammer. I extracted like a Yammer analytics here. So in the past 7 days, I had 10,000 likes. I had 20,000 messages. It kind of looks good, right? Now the question becomes, what are people liking? Is it because that the Seahawks won and somebody liked the message, woohoo, Seahawks? Or is the engagement around helping drive better customer service, helping drive better sales, etc.? So how do we tie those 2 things? This is where your qualitative measure comes in. Remember early on in step 3, or step 2, we want to identify what the business value opportunity would be. We want to enhance collaboration. How can enterprise social help? It's going to streamline collaboration between regions and teams to execute projects. What was achieved? Global spread of business was achieved. We responded to RFPs faster. We closed more deals. 15% improvement in increasing number of successful projects delivered on time. So now we can map this. Y'all see that? And now we can take this back to the bank. We can take it back to the C-level. Hey, this is what we've achieved this fiscal year. If you give us more resources, we can look at other things we could do with our enterprise social investment. I'm not saying you got to start big, start small. But then have these steps, follow these steps, in one way or another, depending what you're doing. And truly, it comes to this that you can go back and say, there's true value in it. 5 steps to develop your roadmap: define your vision, map the business value, figure out what these value propositions are, come up with the use cases and how people can work, social, implement it, drive success, and evaluate, adopt, iterate, and start over. Look for the next thing. Yeah? What do you guys think? Helpful? Yeah. So, everything I've shown you, all the templates and whatnot, like I said, I'll package all this up. Stop by the booth, we'll send it to you guys. But before we end, one last favor. On the count of 3, I want you guys to shout it out loud so the other room can hear it, right? 1, 2, 3. Shift happens! Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.